watching this week's show with Dan and Mike.
This week's show podcast, back in its usual location.
Booyakasha.
We have had quite the sunny week, so therefore I'm in a really cheery disposition at the moment.
It's been windy today, though.
Yeah, no, I don't notice that so much because I don't let my students open the windows of the car because I think I might get sensory on the amount of noise coming.
Fair enough, but yeah, it has been windy today, but it has been nice. Yesterday was slightly overcast, but this is very British start to a podcast.
Yeah, no.
Talk about the weather.
And for once we're celebrating it. But no, it's... in case anybody's been wondering where we've been up and down, what I said last podcast is still the case. For some reason, I cannot shake the cough, so I'm probably going to prove at some point in the podcast that I still have one, because if I talk enough, then I cough. So just a reminder, we always have said it on the show, is if you need to put your either physical or mental health first, then you definitely should, because that's what we do when it comes to this sort of stuff. And, well, we did manage to get WrestleMania done, but we were just gas-bagging beforehand about some of the stuff that happened on Raw, because it was very entertaining.
Well, they've got rid of a load of people, and they've added some, or promoted some people from NXT, haven't they?
So we'll go over the releases first, just real quick, because
because when you came to mind, you go, have you seen the releases? We were just about to do the radio show. It was like, well, we've got them all up. They're all loaded on the computer, ready to do the radio show. It's like, not those releases, the releases from WWE. It's like, oh, the sackings.
Yes. Well, they try not to call it a sacking because most of them are just terminated contracts without renewal.
Yeah.
I don't think, because the whole Ron Killings thing last year proves that it's not actually like, you're fired. It's your contract's over and we don't know whether we can get enough out of the character to renew it.
But was that all just a play to be added into Unreal? Was it a bit?
Well, was it? It's the thing that we named another podcast of. Was it kayfabe or was it real? The interesting one for me was... And not the Wyatt Sicks. I kind of understand why, because they couldn't get that storyline off the ground in the way that Bray Wyatt's family did.
Yeah, and that whole thing with the MFTs was just,
Who's got the lantern?
Yeah.
It was...
They could have done a lot more with that story.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem there is, but I would...
Solo Sikoa.
I like him. I think the reason why he's not been released is he's one of the few that can hold a silly storyline. Because like when he came out to speak to his brothers, and like he does, like I like it when he gets like sort of really animated. But I'm wondering if they've released the Wyatt Sicks so that another place can take them on and they maybe can find themselves in a Cody Rhodes style, you know? Because...
Oh, what if they go to...
like AEW or, there's Ring of Honor, various places that they could go.
Or they could just go and
chill for a bit.
Well, no, they can do what they did through the autumn, which was their horror thing at Disneyland.
I mean, Rob Zombie, Wyatt Sicks.
Yeah, that's a
that would be.
Rob Zombie does a wrestling movie.
I would love to see, particularly Bo Dallas. I'd love to see him.
Chokehold, but it's literally.
I mean, if you watch the Fast and Furious movies where Rock's in it, he does rock bottom people as well as other wrestling moves. It's a thing. If there's a wrestler in a movie, they're going to pull off at least one move.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting for a Street Fighter to wait for Cody to do Crossroads as Kyle.
Yeah, cannot wait. But no, the one I found interesting was Kairi Sane because
I thought that was a bit weird. Like same as all the people on the internet.
Yeah,
because she was in the middle of a storyline with Asuka and Io. Io.
I don't know. This is the interesting thing about contract releases is I was watching another podcast, but I can't remember which name, so I can't call them out. But they were saying that with contract releases, everybody assumes that it's the company being unhappy with the wrestler, whereas Kairi could have been like, I want to take a break.
Well, apparently, but she's already flown off back to Japan. Apparently she wanted to go back to Japan.
There we go. So it could be suitable for her. It also...
homesick.
And it could give Asuka a little bit more freedom to be this crazy character where she doesn't have to be bullying Kairi. She can just focus on the feud with Io, which is what they're doing at Backrash. Because I like calling it Backrash. I don't know why.
Okay.
Mostly because if you take too many steroids, then you do get a backrash.
I've heard this. But apparently they don't take steroids in WWE.
Not anymore. Though we are, me and the manager are looking forward, because we haven't done it yet, very much looking forward to the Hogan documentary.
Yeah, I've only seen the clips. That's probably the highlights of it.
The thing is we were talking about it, is I remember Mr. Nanny, the movie. Did you ever catch that one with Hogan?
Yeah, it was like...
He was a bodyguard nanny.
It was like that era where, like, every meathead kind of action movie star did a kiddies thing, like
Kindergarten Cop, Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, all those kind
all
of...
of that sort of stuff. Mr. Pacifier was Vin Diesel's.
Yeah.
No, I got to admit, I'm quite interested in it because of the little things because it's the last interview of Hogan as well. Yeah. And there's been a lot of interesting quotes, like, I wish I had hung up my hat in the late 90s, early 2000s.
And all the amounts of medication and non-medical drugs he was on just to function through the day. It was just like... And
they're also leaning into what you saw being Raw on Netflix, is when he got booed out of the arena trying to sell his beer. Like, that apparently is like a big part of the final interview, because he's like, I never expected to... Because he did the Christian Bale Batman thing, is you either live long enough to see yourself become a villain, or you die the warrior.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I'm quite interested for that one, though. I got to admit, we've talked about it before. I never liked him on screen. I didn't get the bit, and I didn't like his tattoos. I'm very glad that Aleister Black is gone.
For the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in AEW, I was doing some research, because I was like, why is there so much online love for him? Now, in AEW, you know the one contact that he wears? That was an in-storyline injury where he was meant to get burned. And for a good while, he came out with burnt makeup on, and it made him a lot more interesting and made the contact make sense.
Didn't he do that to Aleister Black, though?
No, this is Aleister Black that had the injury.
Oh, sorry.
He did it to Damian Priest.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so he threw some flame at it, but his was meant to be like a really extreme one, hence the contact lens. But with the makeup as well, in that frustrating way where just a tiny bit extra aesthetic, it made him and his weird sort of underworld metalhead aura make more sense. But I kind of hope to see him back in AEW, because he seemed to actually find a lot more success there. A bit like one half of DIY, Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, he left at the end of last year, didn't he?
An immediate champion in AEW.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if you found the same thing with Johnny Wrestling or the other half of DIY. Like in the Battle Royale, where he was just laid down at the start of the match.
Yeah.
I genuinely find that so funny, because it's his bit to like...
Didn't he trip over Cody? Or someone tripped over him because he was just lying there.
Yeah, not Cody because it was the Battle Royale, but yeah, somebody did trip over him. And then when he got eliminated, about halfway down his fall out of the ring, you watch him go lifeless again and then just flop slowly back into the lying position. It's silly, but it made me laugh. So I'm pleased that people like that are around. They gave also Aleister Black quite a nice send-off in the Battle Royale, because he was one of the last remaining guys in it. So they did a nice thing of raising him up before moving him on. But
they also binned off his missus. It would have been quite a slap in the face probably if they had like left her at WWE and then got rid of him.
That back in the day, long before you joined. You know Brie Bella's back.
Yes.
She's married to Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, depending on which company it is.
Oh, right.
And after he left the WWE, and AEW wasn't a thing at this point, he just left, she stayed for at least a year, maybe two afterwards. So it's not uncommon that wrestling couples will be across different brands.
Well, I suppose... I was going to say AJ Lee, but she didn't do anything. She just had 10 years off.
But Chelsea Green's husband is in AEW.
Okay.
So they do split it from time to time.
I see Io Sky's fiance has now been signed, Evil.
Nice.
He's a big Japanese, almost look like a sumo wrestler. Well, but he's big.
But he's evil. Is he very nice?
No, he's just called Evil. That's his name, but I don't know if he's very nice. I'd imagine so if Aero Sky's picked him.
I mean, I can see that Danhausen will have a problem with somebody's name being evil because he's very nice, very evil.
Well, it's but it's like the bands that we interview, isn't there? There's evil and there's evil, and it kind of goes with the aesthetic, doesn't it? EVILLLLL.
Evil Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to admit, I still haven't seen a point that Danhausen hasn't made me absolutely laugh my ass off.
And it's weird because like he's now the highest grossing T-shirt seller on Fanatics. You know, everything he does, he's got his blimp, and he's
Blimphausen,
and he's been passed the torch from John Cena and all that. But when he first made his first appearance at Rumble, everyone booed him.
Yeah, I think it's
like
the problem with the that is when they set off because I didn't realise it's meant to be crap fireworks.
Yeah.
So they set off that one, and if you don't know the back history of him, you're like, wait, that was really bad. And then when he was in the ring with John Cena, set it off, and then forgot to leave the ring.
Yeah.
Like, I just love the fact that you never know whether or not the T-shirt machine is working or whether he's getting it wrong. And he plays it so well, and I can see that he's kind of their spiritual replacement for R-Truth Ron Killings when he does go, because they do the same type of shtick on camera most of the time.
I like the way as well because he's had a couple of matches now, and when they introduce him to the ring, and they always say like from Sacramento, California, or whatever, and it's Mornington Crescent, Mockingbird Close, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's where the Munsters are from. It's the Munsters house.
I do love it.
Or is it Adam's family? One or the other, but actually I think it is the Munsters.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if I've got it wrong.
We can't remember at this stage. But yeah, I got to admit, this is one of my favourite times of the year. We've just had WrestleMania payoff, obviously more on one night than the other, but did show you that footage that we found from a fan perspective where, remember I showed you Randy Orton doing the superplex?
Yes.
And like, he actually did, like, I've seen that boy sell for 20 years. I've never seen him look like he's actually in pain, like his back had just frozen up because he had taken a big bump on an injury.
But also the camera trickery, when he punted Cody in the face. He literally punted, and as he followed through, he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
I checked on him.
Yeah, but they didn't show that on the live stream, did they? It was more like clips afterwards where he was like, "Oh, I'm concerned because I actually contacted you."
I mean, I wonder if we're going to see either on screen with WWE or in a podcast, Randy Orton going, "Yeah, I wanted to do the heel turn until I got into it and then realised that I can't actually commit to it as much as before because
I'm too nice."
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, because he said that as soon as it was becoming a dad for him, that changed like his thing, because there's a famous story that Ollie likes to tell where Cody Rhodes, I think it was.
Shout out to Ollie.
Yep. Cody Rhodes walks into a toilet and Randy Orton's in there, and he like breaks a sink off the wall just for fun, going, "Watch this." Walks, waits until it gets discovered, walks into the middle of the training room and goes, "Right, nobody's leaving until we find out who did this." Very like train spotting moment, if you remember him throwing the glass over his shoulder. But that Randy Orton, apparently, he said himself, very much changed into the dad that likes to make sure the kids on the ramp are okay with a couple of high fives. And it wouldn't surprise me if he is actually struggling. Like he said already, he doesn't like being a heel in front of his daughter when she's in the crowd and stuff like that.
Isn't it?
And I love how much more family-orientated WWE is with the likes of Roman Reigns, and even the storyline they're doing with Jacob Fatu, where Jacob's not going...
Yeah, he wants to do it for his family.
Yeah, he wants the bread. As soon as they did that, I was like, that's so clever, because...
The only thing is that if you're a family, you can't afford to go to wrestling because they jack the prices up.
Well, you never know that they are definitely teasing the thing that we said in the last one about going up against TKO, but also it's not going to Vegas next year. We already know that.
Yeah, and the year after that, they're teasing it as well. It could possibly be 2 years away from America.
Hopefully it's the UK.
That's what they're teasing. Apparently they had what they call it, a group a village hall meeting on Zoom because everyone was around the country. This is only in the last day or so. Is it Nick Khan? Is that the guy's name? That's
I believe so.
head of or CEO or something like that. But he almost let it slip that they're looking at London for the next one outside America.
Well, Triple H and our London mayor did tease it about 3 years ago that Triple H was in talks.
Yeah,
but
we just don't have the oil money that the Saudis do. So
No.
we're never going to be able to get it first.
But we do. Wait, what do we have? Our biggest export from the UK is novelty doorknobs.
And music.
And talking about the weather. So if that can pay the bills, then
We can talk about music and we can talk about the weather.
we've definitely tried to pay bills with that. It just hasn't worked that well. I think
Wembley would be two nights at Wembley.
I would love to think that if it was in the UK, I would be able to go, but I just don't know if I could afford it.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's what everyone is complaining about now. It's like during the Vince McMahon era,
He kept it a lot cheaper.
It was so cheap that a family of 4 or 5 could go have a meal beforehand, book a hotel, go to Raw or SmackDown or a PLE and still have money when they got back home. Whereas now they have to save for months and months just to go to one which is local to them, not necessarily fly to Vegas where they gouge all the prices up anyway.
I was going to say, it's not exactly cheap to stay in Vegas, is it?
No. But I don't understand. I find it weird that they said that Vegas itself was gouging prices because of WWE, whereas the following weekend they had Sick World Festival, which is the same amount of people again, just on the festival site down by the Strip, and surely the price, people were moaning about the prices there at the festival for food and drink and
I think
things.
Vegas is just expensive.
Yeah, because I went to Vegas 20 odd years ago, and it was expensive then, but you kind
of expect it to be.
Yeah,
it's Vegas.
It's like us. We're in the West Country, but if you go to London and buy a pint, it's astronomical. Whereas down here, you could probably buy a pint and a half for that. But it's a global capital city and a destination for people to go on holiday and travel on business. The same with Vegas. It's a destination. You go to it.
Yeah.
There's not a lot else left. In the area besides aliens and a
canyon.
Well, a canyon with a lake that's vastly drying up quite quickly.
Yeah.
You might be able to find those aliens soon. Because, Area 51's not too far from Vegas.
No.
In comparison.
I was going to say, we would find it far because you could probably drop the UK how many times into Texas and it still wouldn't fill
into
it up?
Texas, yeah. But Vegas is in Nevada.
I know it is. But, I'm just saying the scale of things in America is huge.
But I did the Grand Canyon helicopter that takes off from Vegas airstrip and then goes up over Hoover Dam and then carries on to the Grand Canyon. And it was still an hour helicopter ride before you got to the canyon.
Yeah, I mean, that's going quick. In a helicopter, you do go quite quick.
Yeah.
Because line of sight, no traffic, no moving around the road system or anything like that.
Yeah, the good thing was we were just going towards, we'd just seen the Hoover Dam and flown over it and over the Lake Mead, and then we carried on going, but not very high, so we could see all the, cactuses and stuff like that. And there was this smooth valley type thing. And the pilot was like, so what do you make of the Grand Canyon then? Because we were under the skyline, but there was no jaggeds or anything. And we were like, not worth the hype really. And then it's like, it's not quite like it seems on the TV, is it? And we were
at a distance.
Yeah,
you get the perspective.
But we were at I don't know, 100 foot or something. We weren't high, and we were just flying through this valley. And then all of a sudden he just pulls it up, and we go up in the helicopter to probably about another 500 feet or so, and then you just see straight ahead, and there's this huge void beneath you. It's like, because it looks all jagged and stuff, but it's the top of it is at land level because it was a river.
Yeah.
It sunk down. And then we went over, because we'd been flying at this altitude for so long, when you go over the rim and down, and you're going down about half a mile, and it's just like, it's like worse.
The stomach drop,
yeah. But it was like when you go over the edge of a roller coaster, and it holds you there for a second, and then you just like, and we still parked the helicopter like probably a third of the way up.
It's crazy.
Like, oh my God, it's like a mountain range. It is a wonder of the world.
So yeah, I've done that type of tour, but I did it from Exeter Airport, where our hometown is, and did what the sort of South Devon thing.
Around the bay in 20 minutes.
It is amazing how quickly you get there in the air compared to that. But away from Vegas and wrestling for a second, I know that you've finished something that we talked about on another podcast.
Oh, I have spent some time catching up on things that TV-wise, like Scrubs and The Boys and stuff.
So I've politely asked not to spoil The Boys for me, because I'm actually really low on spoilers with that at the moment.
Oh, that's good.
But Scrubs...
Spoiler alert, they all grow up to become men.
Boys to Men. That should be the people that did the soundtrack for it as well.
That would have been good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But Scrubs, do you have a final opinion on it? Because I don't mind you spoiling that one.
I won't spoil it for you. All I'll say is episode 7, don't watch it if you're feeling a little bit emotional or fragile or anything like that, because Bill Lawrence and his writing team always have that one episode that means...
Like when Brendan Fraser character died in the original.
Yeah.
Every episode of Ted Lasso makes me emotional.
It's just so heartwarming and touching and lovely and just typical Bill kind of writing and styling. And
it's amazing that he's almost not bigger than he is because of how good his writing is.
He's the showrunner for so many things, like
also
Scrubs.
I think he did say that he misnamed Ted Lasso as well.
Ted Lasso.
Because he said that if he had named it something that told people what it was a bit more, it probably would have been a bit more discovered.
But then it gives it that cult thing, and then like
it's getting popular now.
Oh yeah, the next season's out at the beginning of August, and it's going to be good. But he's also done Shrinking, which I haven't seen any episodes, but I've seen all the clips with like Harrison Ford, and it's about getting old by all accounts, and the father-son comparison. So that's probably one for you to watch at some point.
I'll watch Shrinking. On the Ted Lasso front, one thing I've noticed is there are so many more reels of the TED speech. Like, not one specific one, but because he does so many good speeches.
Yeah, motivational speeches.
But what I love is the actor that played Jamie Tart has done so many interviews since the show's finished. And he has such a lovely way about him. Just the fact that he's different to Jamie Tart, even though he's got the best...
Which one's Jamie?
The one with the hair that's really arrogant, that dated Keely at the start of the show, was a complete dickhead, and then ends up being like the captain of the team almost without the armband. I love the way that he talks about working with Bill Lawrence, the way he loves talking about working with the guy that played Roy Kent.
Brett Goldstein.
Yep.
He was a British stand-up comedian, Brett Goldstein. Yeah. And just wasn't getting what he wanted from the UK. He moved to America to try and crack America, and I think he's cracked it in half. Because his stand-up shows are selling out. His podcast is huge.
Well, because he is actually really funny away from the character of Roy Kent as well.
But he sort of came out of that school of like Scrooby as Pip, Adele, a load of those kind of London-based acts from sort of like 15, 20 years ago. They were all kind of in that bubble and Friends and whatnot. Yeah. Little scene within a scene within a scene kind of thing. And he moved to the States and it just clicked and worked for him.
I mean, the one that still gets me the most is I've watched Jason Sudeikis in quite a few things, like he was in Horrible Bosses and stuff like that. I still, when I'm watching Ted Lasso, struggle to see the actor because the Lasso character is so strongly set.
Plus it's the Tash.
Well, what really gets me is when they've done like the stage performances where they're singing together on stage, and he's just got like dirty stubble and no mustache, and I'm like, oh, it's so weird seeing you in real life without the lasso.
But the character, or the aesthetic of the character, almost harks back to one of the characters that he had quite often on SNL when he was.
Well, didn't they do a sketch about a football coach or American football coach in the UK? But he was really abrasive and nasty.
But it's the aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm so glad that they didn't stick with the abrasive version of him, because one of the, I think I told you about this when we were just chatting a couple of weeks back. I kid you not, really struggling with my mental health. Not anything specific, just feeling burnt out, feeling like the week was going hard, and I needed something to get me through my insomnia. And I was sat there, I was like, I don't want to scroll reels. I don't want to do any of because at that point I was doing Umbrella Academy, and whilst I love Umbrella Academy, it is a bit dark, and it's not a show to make yourself feel better. I was chatting to our manager over
unless
messaging.
you like monkeys.
I mean, no, because Pogo gets killed.
Spoilers!
But I text manager, I was
That's got to be the name of the podcast.
Yeah, spoilers. I just said to her, I was like, I know I've only just finished it, but I'm just going to start watching Ted Lasso again. Because it just makes me feel better, because everything about it is so turned towards a realistic idea of kindness and wholesome.
Yeah.
And it's the point where you wonder for a couple of seasons why Ted's showing absolutely no reaction over Nate betraying him. And then it's Beard at the last couple of episodes of season 3 where he's really angry and he says, I'm not going to let this Judas back in here. And it's one of the most viral reels from the show. And it's Lasso showing that he would rather never be judged for what happens at his weakest moment because he doesn't want to judge Nate. And then Coach Beard is like, I won't say the word because it's a podcast.
Whistle!
Not that one. But I love what happens next when you find out why Coach Beard is so dedicated to Coach Lasso. And it's because, and you think that from the relationship that maybe Lasso got saved by Beard. But it turns out that Lasso's always been himself.
Yeah.
Beard stole his car when he was in rehab from drugs and stuff like that. And then they give Nate the second chance that he deserves because that's why Coach Beard is in the UK. And I text the manager when I watched the last episode. I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be emotionally prepared enough to actually watch the last episode of season 3 because there's so many really nice, wholesome things that happen that aren't namby-pamby, not real life. Because I think we've all at some point met a teacher, met a coach, met just a friend that reminds us of Ted Lasso, that person that tries to be kind no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it hits so hard.
Me in the mirror.
So yeah, I think that's probably the thing I'm most excited for is actually season 4 of Ted Lasso
not that it's the week before Bloodstock.
No, and I'm going to watch it all whilst I'm at Bloodstock. And
why did you miss Lamb of God? Oh, I was watching Ted Lasso.
No. See, I like the balance is watch Lamb of God or Slaughter to Prevail. Chill out to Ted Lasso afterwards.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's so chill. But I also Randy's such a great example from Lamb of God. Such a great example of some of the most brutal, dark-filled imagery music. And these days, what a kind, down-to-earth, lovely man he is.
He always has been, but it's a
the
lot more
alcohol
prevalent now.
It, yeah. He even said that sober him was always the same. It was just the alcohol-fueled version of him that he didn't like. But I think we did it years ago. Do you remember we watched the Prague documentary of everything that Randy went through there? Hard watching, but I loved how much he was the type of man that I would want to be, where he deliberately went back to face the music because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But he also...
he spent time behind bars on... not paroled, on... was waiting for the trial and stuff, didn't he? It's
he was legally protected and that he didn't have to go back.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do it. I also love the fact that Lamb of God's the other members said, he's being made responsible for something that the band should be responsible for. So I don't know if you remember this, but...
Well, a couple of the guys had to remortgage their homes.
That's what I was about to say.
To pay for his legal battles. Just
and that's why Lamb of God has been working as hard as they have since that point, because they lost all their working capital not trying to win the legal battle, just trying to see it through fairly.
Yeah.
And what I loved is that the family were, it was the type of court, because it's not based on US or UK stuff, is they were able to talk to Randy directly in the courtroom, and they said some really beautiful things as well, that they understood that Randy wasn't trying to avoid responsibility for their son's death, but they also agreed that he wasn't actually the one responsible for pushing him off stage and creating that situation. And we know from the changes to UK festivals, like the first Lamb of God headline stud at Bloodstock, he stopped as soon as the barrier destabilised. He was the one to stop the band, get the barrier fixed. And I think that one event made worldwide gigs safer overall, because such a big band was affected by it.
That, and there had been a spate of other deaths at festivals in the years before Randy's incident. Like, for instance, Pearl Jam in Sweden, where people died watching Pearl Jam of all bands.
Yeah. Well, there was the one with Travis Scott as well.
I was just about to say, Travis Scott, Astro World, yeah. Because, but that they were saying that he incited crowd surfing aggressive moshing and stuff in his lyrics. It's like, well, yeah, but also look at Limp Bizkit when they went on at Woodstock '99.
Break stuff is...
It's a song that's... Yeah, but also, if you've seen the documentary on Netflix about Woodstock '99, it was an incendiary device waiting to happen. It was like...
I mean, there was no water, no toilets.
It was hot. It was testosterone fueled. It was a very aggressive sort of lineup, because there was Limp Bizkit was the one that everyone goes towards, but compared to the original Woodstock 30 years earlier, when it was all peace and love, it was supposed to rekindle that just with modern bands, but at the time it was angry hip hop, angry metal,
new metal,
even Fatboy Slim was playing there, and it was someone drove an ice cream van, I think it was, through the crowd. And it was, you don't want to know what happened inside that van, but it was not nice, and it was carnage. But it was all those kind of, that combination of all those festivals around the world that something had happened to that, makes it what it is now. Whereas, when we first started going to, say, Download Festival, it was just one big pit along the front. Whereas now, if you're the front man, there's no one in front of you, because you're singing directly to the tower, because the front is split into 4 areas with a giant path up the middle. So it must be it's a good thing for the safety in the public and stuff. But if you're a front man, and say someone like Fred Durst, who has played to Woodstock, and it's just one huge pit full of people, and he comes on to Download, and it's like, oh, I can look directly in the eyes of my sound guy and my lighting guy, but there's carnage over there and carnage over there. It's just.
I think it's possibly why we see often them going to one side or the other to interact with people, but.
And that's it's still the same if there's a walkway at the front of the stage on these big super festivals or not. Yeah, it's like you still breaking it up instead of it being.
Reading does a very good job with the
you got turnstiles.
Counter system and in and out. No, the thing is I don't think that anybody like Fred Durst, or even somebody that's not been there at a nasty thing, I don't think any performing vocalist that cares about their fans would be worried about safety measures in a pit.
No, they all started off playing sweatbox rooms where there is no barrier, and you're paying to 200 people in a small little dingy underground room where a crowd surfer comes over and you feel the front man, you're getting kicked in the face from that crowd surfer. Fast forward 20 years and you're on the main stage at a big international festival, and it's like, I've paid my dues. I've come out of gigs with bloody noses and scratches and stuff like that, and some people might even scratch the lead singer of a band in their face because they're so close to them. That wouldn't happen now, because they've all grown, but also smaller venues looking after there's health and safety in smaller venues as well. So it's not just the major festivals that have had knock-on effects from these crowd surge crowd surges and crushings and deaths and stuff.
Well, you also remember the crowd killing phase as well.
Oh God, yeah. And, Slam Kings.
And what's funny is we have watched so many people try and crowd kill, and then the big monster bear, double denim, beard, long hair.
Impress me, bro.
Yeah, I have watched so many people that were tried to crowd kill just get instantly stopped, and you know who we're talking about in our local scene.
Just puts his hand on someone's head and goes, no.
Yeah, over here. Though interesting you're saying about Ascension, because it reminded me of an interview I watched, not about health and safety, remove that element of it, but it was...
No, don't.
no, from the point I'm making.
Yes.
But it was the gig that you watched, the famous Nebworth Oasis one.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Is they said that when they played that, I watched a really long interview about this, that they felt like they weren't genuine anymore. Because of what you were saying about them being the small venue band for so long.
Yeah, it was very, very quick rise for Oasis, because I remember seeing them in maybe end of 94, beginning of 95 in Cardiff in a venue that was 200 cap. And within 3 years, they were playing to 250,000 people over 2 weekends at Nebworth.
Yeah.
And I went to the first one, and yeah, it was just one huge pit along the front. Then they had a barrier. Then it was split up and all, however kind of thing. But they had the Prodigy as the support band, and at one stage,
Prodigy as support.
Keith Flint went along the barrier between the front crowd and the middle crowd, I guess.
Yeah.
With his minder running behind him, kind of thing, because Keith was a fast runner at that time. And he got up on the barrier facing the stage, but in front of us. So there was our barrier, walkway, another barrier to kind of pen in the front, a few 100,000 people or whatever.
Yeah.
Keith gets up on the barrier, starts singing whatever it is, Firestarter or whatever, and then just leans back, and his security guard had to jump into the crowd and just hold Keith's Flint's feet as he just crowd surfed, singing like this on his back.
I mean, we've seen some pretty funny stuff. Do you remember Airborne, where he went up on the shoulders of his security? And the lead guitarist.
Oh yeah, and they just walk around.
But I think you'll agree, shout out Adam from Fandangle.
Oh.
Do you remember when Crossfaith would work him so hard with the live stuff? Because nearly every song, one of them was going to the crowd, and he was the one that was having to catch these guys from going head over in. And I remember him saying after a gig one time, he's like, I have never been worked so hard, but I have never had so much fun interacting with a band, because the only reason they're over there trying to do this is because they need to be part of it so much.
Yeah.
And it's the thing with Ollie Sykes, because you were saying about them, he's done his look and various things on the radio show. Is even at Chester's gig, he's down on the barrier.
Yeah.
Even at the Brit Awards, he got up on a table.
But nowadays, he
saves it for the photo moment.
Yeah.
Because we saw him at Reading go into the crowd and we've seen it at Download.
Yeah.
But most of it, he stays up on the stage because it is safer for the crowd and for him.
Well, and also, you got a crowd that's that big. If he's down the front, he's only entertaining the 25, 30 people down there kind of thing. You can run along the front and clap people's hands, but he's out of his or the band's pocket, or any band. They're paying the cameramen to keep him on the big screen so the people further back can actually can see what's happening. It's well, where's Ollie gone? I can see the rest of the band. And then the camera cuts to him. He's like, oh, he's down the front hugging everyone.
Though the funny thing is the one he did at I think it was Downloads, where he goes out and he chooses somebody to sing along next to.
Yeah.
That was actually somebody from our hometown.
Was it?
Yeah. And what was lovely about it is obviously, I have no problem with this, but it was pretty much all she posted for the next 2 years of her life.
Oh,
because you would if you got that moment.
Hell yeah.
But she did say, I just wish that somebody had told me that I didn't look quite the way I wanted to. And then as soon as he came over, I just went ugly crying as well. She's like, but I would never change that moment for anything.
It's all these kids that are out watching Youngblood at the moment, and Youngblood does this thing that if he sees someone crying because they're so overcome with emotion and joy of meeting him. He says he learnt it from his mum, and he would just go up and wipe the tears from their eyes.
Yeah.
And that's enough to set them off again, probably, but it's enough to centre them. And it's like, you're having a moment, I'm here, stop crying, let's take a photo, and then I'll be off and do the same to someone else. But he's like, I learned that from my mum, because if I was crying, she'd just come up to me and go, "What are you crying about, Dom?" Wipe his tears away. And
then get him to tell her what we was actually crying about, more than likely. That's actually, we covered quite a bit there.
And of course, we can't mention Youngblood.
Yes. We do have quite a bit coming up. We are on
weeks away from festival season.
Festival season, indeed. Some fun interviews coming up as well, if you want to make sure that in the bio below there is the link to Everything Radio Show. And whilst you're doing that, you may as well do a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
But more importantly, share and write a comment.
Yeah, let us know who you're looking forward to at festival season. What, if you do it quick enough, who you're looking forward to seeing battle at Backrash. And
let us know what you think of Dan's new haircut.
I'm definitely balding. So yeah, that's pretty much a note to end the podcast on, is Dan is balding. We'll see you next week.
Spoilers!